Good evening. Welcome to Mixed Reality Fundamentals. My name is Stefano.
And I'm Elliot.
We are here representing nsquared, as you've heard. nsquared is a company based here in Sydney. Our motto is work together better. And the core company idea is to work on tech that helps us work together better. Our flagship product is the Digitable, which you can see there, which is a tool that helps people in the workspace to avoid distractions, avoid bringing phones and laptops into meeting rooms.
Being a bit more collaborative as they're doing their work, so yeah, it just makes it a bit more of a social.
We also worked on other technologies, for example, the Surface Hub. We've been developing some applications for the Surface Hub, working with Azure services. And more recently, since the last couple of years, we've been working with HoloLenses and the immersive headset, which is what we're going to talk about tonight.
So we've had a little bit of involvement with HoloLens and mixed reality more generally, I should say. Myself, with the Microsoft HoloLens, I do a reasonable amount of development with that, but I'll also do some cross-platforming stuff. I'm currently trying to deploy an app which can possibly work on both the mixed reality and the HoloLens separately, and just sort of work out which one it needs to actually work with at the time. I've also done some AR stuff, which is cool, and Space Planner is probably the bigger HoloLens app that we've worked on, and it's here tonight on the HoloLens, which is cool. So you'll hopefully be able to test that later. Stefano?
I mainly worked on the immersive headset, not only trying to create new applications and business cases that can fit with this technology, but also implementing some of the cognitive services that Microsoft leave available on Azure, such as face recognition, language understanding, LUIS, computer vision, and machine learning.
So the main idea of this meetup is to sort of meet people who are interested in mixed reality, and we're hoping to sort of help grow a bit of a MR community, because it would be great to get more developers and designers and decision makers all together and have some ideas flowing around. So we have an idea of who is around and who would be interested. So yeah, also get obviously the community a chance to get hands-on with some immersive and mixed reality stuff and the HoloLens. So yeah, that's what we're hoping to do. But obviously, part and parcel with that, we want to know who you guys are. So I suppose we've introduced ourselves, so if you wouldn't mind if I pass it off to each one of you, if that's okay, and just your name and why you're here, that sort of thing, and what you're interested in learning, and yeah.
So my name is David. I'm a user experience designer, also a pharmacist, and I am guilty of playing too much Taekwondo. So I'm interested in gaming and all things tech. Yeah, so mixed reality obviously is one of the technologies that I've heard about within UX. So I really don't know too much about it. That's why I'm here.
Oh, perfect. That's great. Thank you.
My name is Salim. I come from an AI machine learning background.
Oh, cool.
I have my own consulting practice. And just this last weekend, I met someone at an event who said there's huge opportunities in the mix between VR and AI. So curiously, I signed up for 2 meetups, and you're the first.
Oh, excellent. Very exciting.
My name is Sundram, and I work as a consultant. And really recently, last 6 months, I've been hearing about this mixed reality. I've heard about AR and VR, but this seems to be very much more interesting to me, and I would like to just contribute something towards this and see if we can develop something out of it.
Yeah.
This could be a use case for somebody somewhere.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
just want to get more details on how it works and what's the drawbacks and the kind.
Okay, it's interesting.
My name's Alistair. I'm a technical architect. I've been working with VR for 4 or 5 years, and AR for 6 or 7. So I've done VR, AR, and zero MR. So I just look and see what people are doing.
Yeah.
My name is David. I wanted to know what MR was because I started to know the XR world with the virtual reality equipment. So I wanted to know what MR is, and my goal today is to know what can we accomplish today. So I want to know what this is about. So.
That's right.
My name is Maria. I'm a student, 3D artist, so anything with 3D. I'm really interested in MR, AR, all of the things. I'm just very interested in that. I don't have anything wrong with it.
My name's Daniel. I work under Microsoft in Australia. I worked a little bit with mixed reality, with bringing it to our retail market and teaching everybody about our stuff.
Cool. I'm Darren. I work with Daniel here with Microsoft. I'm recently new, so working in the commercial space, so I'm here to see how you're using mixed reality in the commercial space and how I can learn from it.
Awesome.
I'm Julian. I'm a visual artist. I have both a fine art and a commercial practice. Last couple of years I've been concentrating on 3D, sort of layer and stuff like that. I come from a photographic background, so I'm reading photography, photogrammetry, and that sort of stuff. Last year I started working in VR, and I just wanted to do that basically. So, along with the fine art practice, I want to also work commercially as well, because I like to be able to eat and pay rent. So, for me, I can see lots of potential in this, both commercial applications and other art practices as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, welcome. Yeah, it is great to meet you all, and sounds like we've got a reasonably broad bunch of people here, which is really great, because that's very much what we're aiming to sort of find out. So so this is a Microsoft HoloLens. So many people would have already seen it. Microsoft guys pretty familiar, I'm sure. Very amazing piece of tech. It's the untethered, hands-free, voice-controlled device, which allows you to work both in sort of a physical and virtual reality space at the same time, which is amazing. We've utilised a lot of its key points, so gaze tracking, so spatial perception, the gestures, which make things a lot easier, so you don't have to actually have a controller, or I think you can use the clicker with it as well, but the hand gestures are amazing, so they're always pretty handy. Outside of that, it's reasonably powerful. You can go through the battery life reasonably quickly depending on what you're doing it on it. And it's also very, very great for cloud and that sort of thing. So we try to do a reasonable amount with it. And more recently, we've been doing cognitive services stuff with it too, to sort of get out there and get information back. Yeah.
As you pointed out, cognitive service. Some of the cognitive services work very well. For example, facial recognition. We managed to fetch the feed from the camera, send it in real time, and get an analysis back to detect who is who, which is very interesting. We've been doing the same with computer vision to detect objects around. Immersive headset. So while the HoloLens has been around now for quite a few years, the immersive headset is being released to the public fairly recently, talking about November. But we've been working on it. We've been quite privileged to be able to work on it for quite a while now, for over a year. The two main features of this piece of tech is, first of all, it features instant tracking. That means that it doesn't need any sort of external cameras to track the movement of the headset and the controllers. That makes it portable. You could attach the headset to a laptop on your backpack and carry it around without need of being tracked from the outside. Another great feature of this headset is that you can leverage the full potential of Windows while using it. the platform, which is a mixed reality headset, incorporates an environment that is exactly the same as your desktop, just in virtual reality. It's very user-friendly. It allows you to open up the same applications that you open up on the desktop and place them around your environment. There is they call it the house. It's a
the Cliff House.
The Cliff House. That's right. So you can actually not only put 3D models on your Cliff House and make it look like you make it look homey, but also place those applications around and pretty much create your office within the virtual environment. So this is one of the projects, the first project that I worked on with the immersive headset. And it responds to a business case, which is control rooms. So I'm sure you all have an idea what control rooms are. Lots of screens on the background that are shared between multiple people. And then a few screens up close that each person has for private information, such as emails or data that they have to track on their own. So what if we build the same environment in mixed reality? What are the advantages? First of all, to set up a control room costs millions of dollars. To build an application, it definitely costs much less. If you have the internet, you could be flying on a plane, starting this up on your laptop, and you have your control room on the plane, things that you can't do. It doesn't require any space. You don't need to rent big offices for each one of your employees to have something like that, to have access of all these information. So this application, again, is at the early stages, obviously. We've been just prototyping and see what the feel is. You can see you have information on the background that we tried with data, we tried with camera feeds, you have your time on top, you have videos running, a map, and then you have the inner circle, the inner wheel, that you can rotate and grab information with your controller from the background and drop it into your wheel. So you could share the background information across multiple displays and have your inner wheel where you keep the information that you care about. This application is deployed on one of our machines. You'll be able to try it out later. Training, this is probably a more obvious scenario. Training can be expensive when you put someone behind the wheels, insurance costs, a person that has to follow the danger. What if, you're not going to replace the whole driving experience with a headset, but what if a portion of that gets offset into in virtual reality, in immersive reality? You could get a person to drive around in the snow, in the sun, in the rain, in the fog within 15 minutes by just changing the weather, for example, and having the car responding to the weather. Things like building something, using heavy machineries. In our case, our example is building a PC. Exactly, it's more precisely is replacing a graphic card. So this one as well, you'll be able to try it out. It's true, it doesn't replace the experience of actually changing a graphic card, but most people that have tried it, they go through it and they come out saying, hey, if I had to replace a graphic card now, I kind of have an idea of what I'm supposed to do, because you're guided step by step during the process. And this can be applied obviously to any scenario. So yeah, this is the application. So you have your machine on top of a table, you can rotate it, your screwdriver, you have your graphic card there, and you have a little robot that guides you through the process.
Okay, this is our main HoloLens application which we've developed, nsquared Space Planner. The main idea behind this is essentially providing you interior design tools so that if you're looking to map out your office space or your home space, and say you've seen a couch that you would like to put in your home or in your office, but you're not sure if that's going to take up too much room, whether the style that you're looking at is going to fit within that environment. The HoloLens obviously allows you to walk around your space, and this app particularly allows you to place real-sized objects, I should say, into in your environment and change styles and actually place it and see what it might look like in your home. So is it too big? Is it too small? More generally applied, it could be useful for, I suppose, warehousing, where you're dealing with something which could be quite heavy, and in terms of logistics would take a lot to move around. So perhaps you could have a better idea of what that sort of scenario might look like in that environment if you're able to move these things a lot easier. Yeah, so I'll show you what we've sort of created. So this is Dr. Neil of nsquared, and we actually used nsquared Space Planner to design our new meeting room, which was really cool. So not only did we put an application together for other people to use, but we have used it ourselves, and it's actually coming quite a lot of handy, being really handy, I should say. So this is him placing all these virtual objects into the room. You might notice that obviously he's wearing the HoloLens, so how do we capture this? We use a spectator view technology that Microsoft guys might know with Space Planner. So that's something else that has been really useful, because whilst you can record from the HoloLens, it's got about a 720p resolution. If you want to see people interacting with their objects, it's nicer to have that third person with that as well. So this is essentially the general idea of how that might come together. And so you can see he was rotating it and moving it around space. This is Space Planner, but the immersive headset version. Stefano mostly worked on this, which was cool, but essentially it's the same idea, but you're in the immersive headset in a single place, and you can sort of move around, choose some items, and have a general feel of how you could set out an environment. So perhaps you might load in a house that you're working on or you're aware of, and you've got all the specs for it, and various pieces of furniture and that sort of thing that you would like to see all together. So yeah, essentially that's what it does, and yeah, reasonably handy kind of software. So we wanted to talk about some of the challenges we've sort of faced whilst developing. We've been developing since 2016 with the HoloLens, more recently with the immersive headsets. Obviously with early development, there are a lot of rapid API evolutions and shifting sands. So one week you'll have pulled into part of the API that's available, and next it won't be there. It's all part of like the natural progression of things though, which is great, because a lot of the time you're also getting newer, better tools. But it is a very uneasy place to be at times, because you think you can count on something, and you go to demo it and it's no longer there. But that's part and parcel as well. So, and then obviously the mixed reality and Windows updates, as the Fall Creators Edition came out, which actually had that bundled in. Prior to that, we had to use the Insider Edition, which changes quite rapidly. And there's sometimes you feel a bit uneasy using that, but it was really cool that we could get in there early and actually start developing and putting our things together, which was amazing. Also, it's a very small community still, I suppose, mixed reality. So you go to look for other people's examples or help with certain things, and you kind of hope that Microsoft or Unity have managed to provide some sort of documentation there, but it's not always the case, and because things are just very new. So we did face a little bit of that, so we actually ended up creating a lot of solutions for what we've managed to do, which has been a great learning experience for us, and hopefully something we can pass on to others. And of course, Unity's large-scale changes. We've got v2017 there, but we started with 5.3, I think, at the time. So changes from there to 2017 have been immense if you know Unity at all. So that's been an interesting space to be in. This is one of Stefano's screen grabs. So we left work on Friday, and on Monday they'd updated the Git repo for was the immersive headsets toolkit. So as you can see, 606 pulls, which is
you can tell Microsoft's been working really hard. If during the weekend they can manage to bring up 600 pulls, but and obviously when you come in on Monday, you have to be ready to deal with it and to bring your code up to speed. there are challenges that we're still dealing with. I think it's good to talk about it as well. Well, for example, debugging. When you wear a headset of any kind, really, you can't see your compiler. So there are solutions that you need to find a solution for you to see what the debugging is within the scene. So we try to build like a few debugging consoles that you need to remember to take out when you should release it. Obviously, design iterations. Every time you develop a new app, requires probably a higher level of iteration than a normal application, and that is because there is such a big difference between someone that hasn't touched an immersive headset of virtual reality, immersive reality, and someone that is used to it. So it's important to widen your audience as much as possible, especially in testing phase.
And I suppose too with UX, like because virtual reality is like right up in your face, you're expecting things to look a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way. So you kind of have to continually go in and out of your experience to make sure that's all consistent and natural for the most part. So.
Also, .NET 4.6, which supports some amazing libraries, is an experimental, supported in the experimental phase with Unity, and I can say that the vast majority of libraries work, but you cannot always. It's a bit of a decision to deliver something to a client that is on experimental phase. So sometimes you have to make the decision of working with a lower version of .NET and renouncing to some of the libraries that comes with it. Okay, well, thank you very much. Obviously, we want you all to stay around and have a chat and have a conversation about it. If you have any questions, we are around. You can ask any questions now. Do you have any questions in regard to what we just talked about?
So just for a newbie, so when you say mixed reality, you're saying it uses that HoloLens technology? So mixed reality is the term that Microsoft uses to put an umbrella on top of some of the devices, all the devices that it distributes. And it's a range that goes from the complete immersion to being able to use digital content with the environment, which is the HoloLens. So all that area, that umbrella, under that umbrella there is mixed reality. So when we say mixed reality, we talk about all the devices.
With your space planner application, is it difficult to import different spaces? Like, is there a tool that you could give to an architect, for instance?
I'll leave this to you.
It's not implemented currently, so being able to save a space and get it back out. But the HoloLens obviously comes with the mapping tool built in. So if obviously we can get that save data out and potentially load it back in as complete scene. Because I suppose Unity just handles environments already, which is cool. But I suppose like if you've deployed the app and it's out, being able to load in, we don't have that so far, but it might be something nice so that people can get at home and have a feel of, I suppose, what that might be looking like.
So with the immersive experience, is it easy for me to bring in 3D objects, or actually the full house? So what you guys did was a really great experience with being able to move around a light source and see how that light source affects different objects that are in the house. I'd really like to be able to bring my own house into that and start building from there and seeing how things would look if I changed it up.
So the basic engine we use is Unity. I'm not sure how many of you have used Unity before. So Unity, well, first of all, it's called a game engine, but you really can do way more than just games. It's used really for any sort of applications, and it's very designer friendly. So designer can really pick it up and work with it. Works mainly on C#. The reason I bring up Unity is that is the main engine that you will use to bring in 3D objects into a scene. And even without any code, you could start a mixed reality application in Unity, but just bringing in 3D objects and just put them around in a room and put like 4 walls and put a few objects in without even touching a line of code. Then obviously if you want interaction, that's a different story. But that's where Microsoft comes in with the Holo Toolkit to help even designers to just bring in the code and without digging into the code itself, just use it to create interactions.
Can you stream data into these environments?
Absolutely, yes.
So actually in regards to sort of the 3D models as well, that would be how I would handle it, I suppose. I suppose some sort of internet interface would be handy, and you could upload a model which it can then fetch from Azure more than likely. So we can definitely stream data in that way. So not only bigger items, so 3D models, but we've streamed 360-degree videos into Unity space and had it working at runtime. So yeah, it's very, very powerful and very, very amazing.
So yeah, Azure as a platform is truly amazing. It has such a huge array of services that you can use, and they're all very friendly with mixed reality in general. We have done face recognition, we've done computer vision, real-time translations, we have done storage, function calling from Azure. We've tried quite a lot of stuff, and they all work really well.
Actually, one of the HoloLenses tonight have the computer vision application going on. Essentially, you just look around and give an air tap, and it'll have a go at analysing what you're looking at, and come back with a couple of predictions as to what it thinks you're looking at that point. So it's actually quite interesting. So you can just sort of walk around, and it recognises people, chairs, tables, screens sometimes if it's lucky. So yeah, very interesting.
Most of the stuff we build is about telling a story, mostly building prototypes, and then leave them and say, hey, well, we could do something else. We could improve these and go that direction. So we'll try face recognition within the office. And it's okay, how can we apply this to a business case and do the same with object recognition? So yeah, we've been learning a lot in the last couple of years, and a lot has been about experimenting. We didn't really want to go too much in detail and bring code up on the slides, because we wanted to know first the crowd, what you are all interested in to see. If you want to see the design decisions that we've made, we're definitely planning to run more of these events, and depending on your feedback, we are going to change our conversation and make it as interesting as possible, and try to show people the amazing things that you can really do and the amazing ideas. And obviously, you're absolutely more than welcome to stay back and try some of the applications we have around.
Just as a quick question, what would you like to see here? Because it is really good that we've got a broad audience here. So in terms of like design or user experience or that sort of thing, if there was more of these kinds of events, what might be interesting to see or learn about?
Learn about the process of how you guys do the development and the testing. Is it very agile, or, and like how do you, like, in terms of the feedback that you get, like is there any like restrictions on the technology and how do you pay that?
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something which would be worth tackling. Sorry.
How to build a training application end to end?
Yeah, I think that's something we probably look at. Yeah, like a little workshop, you mean? Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Testing maybe use cases to see how hard or how easy it is, because for novices like me who have no idea, to get a feel for how complex or how easy it is to get an end-to-end use case like the one that you mentioned, in terms of using, let's say, a glass and then looking at an environment and doing image recognition or object recognition. If you project that into an operating theater where you have, a knee surgery, can I recognize the leftover equipment and do an inventory of this, and how easy or how hard is this to do that?
This is actually something we've been working on quite recently on training developers for these kind of scenarios, for example. And yeah, we should definitely be interested to bring in a laptop and show you how easy it can be done.
We're also obviously very open to other people if they want to run an event also if they've got expertise or specialist information that they might like to share as well, because we are very much trying to get that conversation going and getting that community really behind, and so that we, I don't know, not only you guys but us too, so that we can talk to other developers and other people that are interested in the area, so that we have a broader community, which is good. Yeah. Outside of that, any other questions? Sorry. I will. Can you just go back to Space Planner really quickly, the HoloLens version? It's going to preempt some troubles because the HoloLens is a very specialist device. Not a lot of people have used it. Next one. Other way. Oh, you. Okay. Yeah, awesome. So you can see Dr. Neil here using the air tap gesture, just to front load you guys. So when you're using either this app or the computer vision app, air tap gesture is just sort of this. The Microsoft guys here are probably real familiar with it, but we've been to Build, Microsoft Build and that sort of stuff, and a lot of people come in and aren't sure how it works, so I was just trying to help. So when you get in there, you can select things like this. So if you're looking at a table, just select. There is a green end menu in there with you as well, and if you tap on that, it'll bring up a bunch of categories, and you can click those categories and see a whole bunch of different types of furniture objects in there, which you can place around. The movement's set to your vision, so wherever you sort of look, it'll hit a wall or the floor, and you just tap it again and it'll set. You can rotate objects. It is voice command, so if you say turn to it, it'll go red, and just using the pinch and drag gesture, you can sort of turn it around, which is cool. Otherwise, the voice command style will change what kind of style's there. If you want to move it again, you can say position. Sorry, yeah.
No. I recently had a play with it. I was like, that's my favourite gesture.
Oh, the bloom gesture.
The bloom gesture. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not my favourite because I've got an app going and someone will do it and close the app.
Yeah.
But that's okay. A lot of times it just suspends the app, so you can just go back in there real easy. So, but that's fine. The bloom is essentially the quit. And the open menu in the general environment of the HoloLens is really cool. And yeah, so try to avoid that one if you're using this, because close it. But outside of that, yeah, just go to town and ask questions if you aren't sure what's going on with there. Just, I thought it'd make it a bit easier if I talked about it. Did you want to mention any of yours at all?
Yeah, well, the immersive headset, in these demos that we're going to show tonight, there's only one controller. You can use only one controller, the right one. You use the trigger to select things, and you use the thumbstick to move around or to move the computer around. In any case, we'll be here. We're still going to be here for a while, so if any trouble, you just come and call us, or you can absolutely approach us and ask more questions if you want to. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.